Hey, guess what? We're live. I appreciate everybody dropping in here today to watch the live stream. A little bit of backstory. So I was able to go metal detecting in England back in March of this year, and lucky enough to have found some pretty incredible things. Now, I went with GeorgiaBuddy.com. If you guys want to check out Mr. Buddy over uh, down in Georgia, and he will set everything up for you. All you had to do is pay for the services. He took care of everything. You had to make sure that you got your airfare over to London. And I went over there with an incredible group of guys, a lot of YouTubers, Ventures in Dirt, Preacher Digger, um, just a whole bunch of guys. I can't even think of everybody right now. And absolutely incredible time. Stayed over there for an entire week, metal detected for 7 straight days, and came home with a whole bunch of different relics, some incredible historical items. And we're going to kind of take a look at those today, which I'm really excited to look at. So it took about 6 months for my paperwork to get approved for exporting these items. Now, these items had to stay in England until I was approved for export. They were submitted over to the museum, the British Museum, for them to look at them, identify them, and see if they wanted to purchase any. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know which direction you go. All of mine were released. Nothing was accepted by the British Museum, which is good for me because I got to receive everything. Um, Export license got approved, and the contact over in England sent the package over to me. Cost me like $40, I think, for shipping, and not too bad. And I've got all the items now. I've gone through them and looked at everything. Now, what's really cool is our contact over there in England actually makes up um, like a form essentially identifying nearly every single item that I have found over there. So we're gonna kind of go through each one of them. I'm hoping a whole bunch of people come here and leave me a comment down in the chat below here. I see we've got across the board says be lying if they if he wasn't jealous for the England trip. It was an incredible trip. I'm not gonna lie. Ski searchers in the chat. Good to see you, Ski. Thanks for popping in. We're gonna be here a while. I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of incredible stuff. Some great coins, some incredible buttons, and then some awesome relics. And I'm excited to share all of them with you guys. So sit tight, get yourself a ski so you can stay hydrated, and hunker down because we're going to be here for a little bit, kind of going through all the items. I'm going to show you. I have a microscope here so we can actually get a really close look at each of the items. And I'm also going to reference my cheat sheet because I don't know everything that we have exactly 100% as to everything that's here. So let's get started right away. I don't want to drag this on. I'm excited for everybody to be over here and enjoying this with me, and I appreciate all the support for the channel as well. So let's go. We're gonna save some of the incredible finds for a little bit down the road when I have a little bit more people here. But we're gonna start off with a coin right away to get us started. Now, I need to get this in focus. You know what? Let's actually go over here. We're going to get it focused on here. It's a silver coin. Something all of us really want to find, of course, is silver. And unfortunately, this one is illegible. There's no identifying marks on it, but it is silver. And what our contact over in England determined was this was a milled silver, which means it was a planchet, or was a planchet before they went to stamp it, and it's a sixpence. That's as much information as we can get off of it. But I will take a silver coin. Everybody's excited when you get silver, right? And this one got me excited. I wish we could date it for sure, but it is milled, so it's not extremely old. But it is silver, and I will take that. That's the first find here. Silver coin you can never beat, right? We're gonna go over here because this is a little bit of a bigger piece, and I tell you, this is one of the more interesting pieces that I found over in England. Now, I found this in a horse pasture that they had just received permission on. It's one of the, I think it was the second target that I had over in this horse pasture, and it's really baffled a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of um, interesting comments about this piece. I did put it out on social media, but check this guy out right here. Now, this, it's not even going to fit all the way. Darn it. This is a larger piece. It is made of copper, and it's interesting. So obviously you can see it's got a face on one side here, some slicked back hair, and it's really cool. Some great details. And I'll flip it over here. Obviously the other side looks just like the left side. A lot of details. I mean, the ear, the eyes, the hair, the flowing hair. But here's the interesting part. What they're calling this is a hollowed out copper bust. And what's interesting is you can see it's actually at one point, I mean, it has a seam here, right? Goes around to the top of the head. This is the face, or the beginning kind of the scalp up here, down to the nose, down here. And this is actually like open. You can see here at the bottom, it's kind of open. It was obviously filled with dirt, but it was a hollowed out bust, copper bust of some sort. I don't know what in the world this is. The contact in England said that he thought it could possibly, English is tough these days, right? Possibly be a William the Fourth, 1834 copper bust. Why it's a copper bust of William the Fourth, I'm not quite sure. Very cool piece. It is full copper. Very, very cool piece. A lot of details. It goes the seam kind of goes right onto the chin right there. You can kind of see that there. But just a really interesting piece. I don't know if this was a desk piece. I'm not quite sure what in the world this was. But they have told me, identified this possibly as William the Fourth from 1834, a hollowed out copper bust. Very interesting piece. I would love to have been able to get this maybe pushed out again to become hollow, so it becomes that whole head, which would be really cool to be able to see. You can kind of see the piece here as well. Fairly large piece. You know, you can see based on my hand size, fits in my palm there. Very cool. Yeah, across the board, talking about this piece. I appreciate that comment there. Very interesting. Again, kind of a mystery item. Wasn't identified 100%. And I wish I just wouldn't even know how to start to get this thing kind of open back up to become that full head. I don't know. Very interesting piece. I really like it because it's so unique. I don't know. Very interesting though, right? The next piece, this one's actually pretty cool. We're going to go back up top to the microscope, and this is a smaller piece here. Now, let's get it in focus. So this is identified as a 15th century lead bale seal. I'm sorry, this is actually a token. This is one of the tokens. Maybe we'll put it down here as well. So it's identified as a token, 15th century token. And what's really cool about this is it kind of has that honeycomb. I've got a secondary light here. Kind of has that honeycomb pressed into it. You can see multiple, kind of multiple squares on it. It's unfortunately, I mean, it is lead. It is a little bubbled up and not completely flat. I'm sure I could press it down flat, but I worry about this side over here breaking off. that concerns me. But 15th century, maybe see at the top here, possibly. No, I don't think so. I think it's just, but it's like a token, some sort of a token. Not sure where that came from, and 15th century lead token. I will take that all day long. People, have a hard time digging up lead. I dug a lot of lead because of this reason. I wanted to find some some bale seals, some tokens, old to me old bullets. We have all of that over here in the United States. They may not necessarily think that those things are old, but a 15th century token. Who knows what did they use this for a game? Did they use it for trade? 15th century. To me, that was a while ago. To you guys, could be a while ago. Very interesting to have found that. It's a piece that I really like a lot. I love the design in it. And we've got some other ones that also have some designs as well, some tokens, some bale seals. Very cool pieces for that. Anytime that you can get something 15th century, right? Size of a coin, for sure. Fit in the palm of your hand right there. But a 15th century token. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Let's move over to one of my best finds. Maybe, arguably, maybe my best find here. One of the things that, we all are searching for coins, right? And one of the reasons we're searching for coins, let me go back over here. One of the reasons we're searching for coins are not only the material value of the coin itself, but for myself personally, being able to date that coin, identify it. Obviously we're looking to identify it, but to date it is something that's very, very special. And this was my first time over in England. So things on people's bucket list when you go to England. Gold. Everybody wants to find a gold stater, a gold coin. Those things can date back to pre birth of Christ. We're talking BC, right? We're talking BC. I did not find personally a gold coin or any gold items. There were some found when I was out there, but I wasn't lucky enough to find it. So the next thing that you look for in terms of coins would be hammered. Hammered silver is kind of on the list, and in fact, or hammered copper coins as well. I've got a hammered copper coin we're going to look at a little bit later on, but this might be, one of the top finds for my entire trip here. And I know that I'm dragging it on here, but let's look. Let's go back over to the microscope. Let's dump it down here because it's a bigger coin. And get that in focus. I'll show you guys here in a second. So what we're looking at here is my first hammered silver that I've ever had my entire life. And this came on day one within 2 hours. I just talk about getting spoiled here, right? This is a 1561 Queen Elizabeth I hammered silver sixpence and the year 1561. You can see right at the top. Oops. Right at the top here above the shield, we're looking at 1561. Can you believe that? I can't believe it. 1561 hammered sixpence. And to be honest with you, when I found it, the condition that it was in, considering it's, almost 500 years old, over 400 years old, the condition of it was not fantastic. And I, never having found hammered silver before, didn't even know what in the world this was. Took me by surprise. Cleaned it up a little bit, sprayed it off, and was able to identify 1561. And at that point, your mind kind of blows up, I would say, for at least for me personally. So Like I said, first 2 hours of day one, I think it may have been the first or second hammered that was found on day one, and just totally, absolutely blew my mind. Something that, yeah, we all have on our list when we go to England is hammered silver, and I really got spoiled finding it this early. My buddy Ken from Adventures in Dirt, um, who had been to England before previously, wasn't able to even find it on his first trip. Did find it on his second trip, which was this past March with us. And let's flip it over. It's in pretty good condition. The top of it is, I did not do that. It's a little deteriorated away. I did not hit it with my shovel or anything like that. But there's Queen Lizzie the First. Little worn on her face there, but overall, I mean, I got into the 1500s. How am I going to complain about that coin right there? Queen Elizabeth I, 1561, a hammered silver. But I will tell you guys, don't go anywhere. This isn't even my oldest coin that I found. Blows my mind. Not even the oldest coin that I found during this trip. So, but to me personally, hammered silver, this, beautiful picture on it, writing around it, an incredible shield on the back, the date on the back there. What an incredible piece. So blessed to have found this this coin, and this will go probably in my safe. I don't know how much I'm going to display this thing. I'm going to take it to our club meeting and show people over at the club here, but man, just blows your mind, right? Over here in America, the 1500s is not attainable, to be honest. But over in England, something you can find. So 1561 hammered silver, just speechless, honestly. What an amazing coin to be able to find that. Craziness right there. So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to stay with the coins. And this one here blew my mind. Now, quick story for this one. I was off on my own in a field way back in the corner. Now, in this corner, it had been known that people had found coppers. And this day, I think it was day 5 or day 6, I was on a mission for copper coins. I wanted to find copper coins, as many as I could. I just wanted to hold a KG2, a KG3, those kind of different coins, and find as many of them as I could. So a lot of people over in England don't necessarily have a lot of value per se in a coin that's late 1700s, 1800s, a copper coin. They don't necessarily seek those out. For me personally, it was something that I wanted to have for my collection. And so I really concentrated back in this corner for coppers. And I grid off this. You should have seen me. I wish I could have recorded on an app me gridding this field. Now, I went north-south for half the field, sat down, had lunch, doubled back over the same area, gridded east to west, really trying to hit this hard. And I'm not gonna lie, it paid off. I think I found 13 coppers that day, and really added to my entire experience. To be able to hold 13 coppers from the early 1800s and actually back to the 1700s was something that really made me feel good. It was something I wanted to have for my collection. But while I was back there, in addition to copper, I was able to find some silver. Now, again, I'm off on my own. Had no idea what this was when I dug it up. I could read the 2.5 shilling at the top. I could read Courant, Courant, and 17. That's as much as I could get. So what I did was I actually laid down in this field, got on Google, and started researching, trying to find out what this was. Turns out this is a 2.5 shilling, and from 1787, as you can read at the middle there down to the bottom. And what this actually is a Danish Duchess of this is the tough word, Schleswig and Holstein, 2.5 shilling. Blows my mind. There's Il Digger. Tim, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. We're over to some copper. I'm sorry, to some silver. But this thing blew my mind. I've never seen one before. What a simple coin. Just writing on it on the front. 2.5 shilling. But the really cool part that I was able to... Now, I haven't really truly cleaned this up too much, and I don't know how much I really want to do clean this up. But on the back, the decorative script and writing is really what blew my mind with this particular coin. So we flip this over and check out. Look at this. Try and get some. So at the top, well, on the side here. So we've got 1/24th. 1/24th of a cent, or a 2.5 shilling is on the side there. Really cool. And then, you know what? Let's put this up higher so we can really get into it. Get it in focus here. It may... Yeah, there we go. At the top, you've got this crown. Which is just so cool. So cool. And then as we come down, we kind of have a script R, which is really, really cool. And then underneath it, the 7th. And I'm not quite sure. This may be relevant to the Duchess of Schleswig and Holstein. The 7th, I'm not quite sure. I haven't done the research on it yet. Like I said, I just got this in, and you know what? There looks to be another number. Is that like a 31? Don't know what that is. I haven't done the research fully on this coin, but something that I thought was really, really interesting, very descriptive, and just a really cool copper coin. And on top of it, got into the 1700s for a coin. To me, is just absolutely amazing. I'm not going to complain about that coin at all. And in fact, I found 4 silver coins on the trip over in England. All 4 of them were different. All 4 different silver coins. I can't say that for the coppers. Like I said, I really pounded for coppers and I got some duplicates. But 4 different silver coins. I'm not going to complain about that at all. Again, 2.5 shilling in the palm there. What a neat piece. The only one, I think... From our group, our leaders had said that someone had found one very similar to this previously in previous years, but nothing on that particular trip was found like this. So I'll take it. Silver in the pocket right there. That's 3 silvers that I've shown you so far, and we're going to get to a 4th silver here shortly. One of the pieces that I really did, like, and we're going to stay up on the microscope. Wait, actually, where are we now? I'm going through my list here. Number 6. So this was... Oh, so we had another lead token was found here. Now, this one's pretty interesting. This is also... let's get moved over here. Another 15th century. It might be a little bit too close. Let's dump it down on the desk and get us focused in. Another 15th century token. You can see kind of some squares on it again. Come up top. Try and work the light here. Very cool piece. On the back side, didn't really see anything identifiable, but that would be my second token, 15th century token to have found on this trip. And again, when you start talking about historically, what was this used for? Was it a game? Was it trade? Whose pocket was this in? You know, those are the kind of questions, obviously, that a lot of us start asking when you start talking about things that don't necessarily have 100% accuracy as to what it is. But a 15th century trade, or I'm sorry, token, something pretty cool there. Let's see. Here's something interesting. Kind of looks like a fishing weight. It's conical. On the bottom has a hole in the top. Had some, probably went through. But right here, what this was identified as was a post-medieval lead hanging weight. So in terms of medieval, post-medieval, we're talking about 1500s. Pretty darn cool. Hanging weight. Which again, what did this identify in terms of historical significance? What did this measure out? What did this, whose hand was this in? But a very cool piece right there. It's a little bit smaller, but to me, gosh, when I first dug it out, I'm like, it's a fishing weight, but we weren't near any water. Pretty cool. Now, Tim, this is something I know that you'll appreciate because you have been over in England as well. This to me was something that was questionable. I'm going to try and give you some backstory. Questionable throughout the entire trip. Something I wasn't able to identify immediately, and I personally wasn't even able to identify it my entire trip. But when I left it for our sponsor and the research that he did, this and I'm gonna it went in a case, so kind of tells you some significance of what this is, what this turned out to be, and something that I had no clue what this was until I got it back. There was some speculation before I left it. I enough with all of that. Let me show you what we have here. So this is actually copper. This is a copper coin, and it is a hammered copper coin. Now, when I was talking earlier about hammered silvers is what we're looking for. A hammered copper just absolutely blew my mind. I didn't even understand what this was until I got it back, and it was told to me. So this is identifiable from this side. Now, the way that it's identifiable is, let's see if I can get the lighting just right on this as I point out some things. We're going to have here at the top like a star. Underneath that, we're going to actually have a crest. Comes across, comes down to the bottom here to a point. Now, the piece itself, when it was created, let me look here, had writing around it, and writing that I can't read. The writing was around the outside, the perimeter of it, and in fact, above this star was another star in the writing. Well, through incredible research by our sponsors out there in England, this was 100%, and you guys can look this up. I don't have a side by side of a better specimen. This is an 1438 to 1481 Afonso of Portugal, one Celtic. I don't know. I don't know what hammered copper coin. I don't know the identifying value of the coin itself, but we're talking mid 1400s. Portugal. It's a Portuguese coin, and it's a one, probably like equivalent to like a 1 penny, a 1 cent, and when I'm talking hammered silver, I was in 1500s. 1561 is my Queen Lizzie the First. With this hammered copper, this takes me into the 1400s, and we're talking 1438, so mid 1400s. My oldest identifiable coin right there. We can flip it over. There is some identifying features, but if that's all you had, you wouldn't be able to identify what this coin was or is from the back of it. What an incredible piece. And honestly, more incredible was being able to identify it right there. I mean, it's very apparent when you look at it now. And if you guys are able to pull up the side by side on Google, I think the first image that comes up is an incredible image there. The star and the crest is what does it right there. And huge thank you to Chris out in England to be able to identify this Portuguese coin, mid 1400s. Just absolutely blows my mind. And this one is probably going to stay inside here as I drop it back in and keep it in that case right there, because that there is pretty darn incredible. Pretty darn incredible. 1400s, oldest coin found on my trip to England, and a pretty damn incredible find, if I say so myself. Unbelievable. So we're going to continue. I'm looking at my list here again. We're going to go back to silver, and something that in terms of English history isn't that old. But I will say it's old for me. And if we can find 1800s, mid 1800s here in the States, blows your mind, right? So right here we've got a identified 1842 Victoria milled silver 4p. You can see right on the front, we've got the date. We've got 4 on the left, pence on the right. Let me flip this over and look at Elizabeth. I'm sorry, Victoria. Victoria, not Elizabeth. You're going to have Victoria on the side, Britannica across the top. It's worn on the other side here, but a confirmed 1842, and I love that Britannica right there. 1842. And to me, this was my 4th silver I found. I spent 7 days searching. I got 4 silvers and a copper. Hammered copper in terms of old valuable type coins. And I finished with a whole mess of other coppers from also the mid 1800s, possibly even late 1700s. Now, Tim Ildigger says hammered copper is just as old as hammered silver. Nice oddity find, Tony. Thanks, Tim. Again, like I said, that was an incredible find that I couldn't identify, and to get that ID coming back to me is pretty darn incredible. But this was my 4th silver here. Milled silver, I found 3 milled. one hammered silver. So very cool find to me right there. Let's actually look at it right here. This is actually, it's maybe slightly larger than a dime, but a cool piece for the trip. I'm not gonna lie, very very cool piece. Let's keep moving. We've got a lot to get through. This piece here is quite interesting. This was identified as what they wrote here on the list, a Victorian mount. Now, in terms of what a mount is, your guess is as good as mine. And Victorian, we're talking 1800s to just breaking into the 1900s. It kind of looks to me kind of like a star, and I wish I'd found the entire piece. Let me get the light up this way. Pretty neat. I don't know what a mount specifically this mount was, but when it came out of the ground, I thought it was pretty darn cool. Has some copper in it. It's turning green. Nice distressed look on it. But it's a piece. It's not a full piece, but it is a piece of what they identified as a Victorian mount. So there's that piece there. We're going to keep moving. We have a pretty interesting piece. Now, I'd love to know more of the history of this sucker. I'm trying to get it in here. Now, what I see, this is actually identified as a Georgian pipe tamper. Georgian meaning early 1700s to mid 1800s pipe tamper. Now, how I see this is I believe right here, this was attached to the pipe. Kind of comes down. I think it was attached. And then on the side here, this would have been kind of the piece that you press down, and it tilted right here. And then onto this end, this was the piece that possibly went down inside the pipe. I don't know exactly 100%, but I do believe it kind of rotated, moved, not rotated, but balanced there and tamped into the pipe. A Georgian pipe tamper. Pretty good ID, I will say. I kind of like that piece. Or maybe it went the other way. Maybe it pressed down on this end and tamped. I don't know. But a pipe tamper. Very cool. This here is a same era. This is identified as a Georgian pendant. So again, we're talking early 1700s, all the way up to the mid 1800s. You can see the hole at the top here. That was on a necklace. I haven't done any cleaning with this at all. There is some dirt left on it, so I might try and see if I can get any identifying marks on it. I would assume, just based on what I've seen for the United States, I would probably say maybe a religious type pendant, possibly, but I don't see anything identifiable. Might be some writing possibly on the side over there, but we'll see. I might try and get some clean it up a little bit and just see if there's anything more identifiable on it other than it being a Georgian pendant. Pretty cool piece there. If you guys haven't seen, my desk is completely loaded with finds, so we're working through my list and what I've pulled out. This next one is actually pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie on that. So this here is listed as a post-medieval. So we're talking 1066 to 1485 was the medieval period. So post-medieval could get into the Tudor period. So you're talking late 1400s to 1600. Bale seal. Sorry, identify it as a bale seal. We can see some circles on it. It is kind of square, and I believe possibly, I mean, there is a little bit of damage on the side. I don't know if it went this way. Could be a 0 with 2 feet on the bottom with another 0. Could go this way. Could be a horns coming up. I don't know, with a round at the bottom. I mean, at the top there. There's a couple lines coming down on the sides. And this is shown as a bale seal on the back. Nothing really identifiable. Square in shape, but might be able to do a little bit more research. I think maybe this item right here with the pieces coming up off of it or down off of it. I don't know if it went left, went right. Guys, tell me what you think this possibly could be. Leave me an idea down in the chat, in the live chat, or in the comments down below. Don't know exactly, but they identified this as a post-medieval lead bale seal. And again, if you were here a little bit earlier talking about digging lead, I just think that so much history was used during the older times of using lead. So I dug a lot of lead to try and find these historical relics, and I was able to locate a couple pretty incredible post-medieval relic right there. So very cool. Leave me a comment down below what you guys think that is. Now this next piece is going to have a pretty darn good story to it. I just don't know what it is, to be honest with you. The story. I know what the piece is, just don't know what the story is. I'm going to show it to you here on camera first. Now it is silver, so another silver piece, I'm not going to lie, is going to be pretty darn cool. Now, what we can see of the silver is on the top here, what I have as the top, I think was a hinge. So, let's go over here and look at this. There's obviously some decoration on it. You can kind of see some lines with some diagonals. And as I flip it over, you can hopefully see where I think was a hinge. Now, this was identified as a Victorian silver trim. Victorian meaning 1837 to 1901, so not super old, but in looking at the shape, if we look straight down on it, was this something that clasped around a brush? Was it, you definitely can see the hinge-ish area. Let me see if I can get that better in focus where the hinge part is. You can see at the top the hole there, and you can see now why I think it was a hinge on that piece going down right over here. Did this clasp a brush handle at the bottom? I don't know. It clasped around something for sure. And it has the decoration on it. I think it's a pretty cool piece. It's a simple piece of silver, which I really like. I mean, you can find silver. It is fantastic. But yeah, interesting. Interesting what that is for sure. But silver is always good, right? Silver is always good. And again, what's the story on it? We may never know, obviously. We'll put that down. Let's move over to a simple piece, but an interesting piece. This is listed as a Georgian trade weight. So again, more trade weights. It has a piece kind of soldered onto the top of it. Don't know what that, I think that's copper on there. A very specific weight that's kind of got some cool patina. It is green. And then at the bottom, you're going to have the hole. Now, absolutely believe this is a trade weight of some sort. Georgian meaning 1714 to 1837 seems about right. Looking at the piece, does have some weight to it, obviously for a trade weight. And what a cool piece, right? Again, looking at history, what did this weigh in terms of what did they use this to weigh? I guess is maybe a better question. In history, what was it used for? Pretty cool piece there, for sure. Another interesting piece that I got. You guys can probably identify this right away. This is the innards of a pocket watch. They dated this to be no date, so don't know if this is. I would say it's probably very early 1900s, based on what it looks like here. I don't think. I mean, we have found here in the States, um, pocket watches and things like that without this type of deterioration. So you have a lot of. It looks a little bit older, so we're talking maybe 1800s, for sure, into the maybe possibly early 1900s on that one. Another cool piece here, lead. Talking about lead again. This is going to be identified as a bale seal, post medieval. So we're talking pretty darn old for that particular one. Now it does have some sort of mark here. Don't know what that is exactly. On the other side, it looks probably how it was pressed together, but there is kind of a marking right here that I would love to be able to identify exactly what that is. Interesting piece for sure. Lead bale seal. About the size of a quarter. Cool piece for sure. This one we'll just do on this screen. This is a Georgian harness buckle. So early 1700s, mid 1800s. Very cool piece, to be honest with you. Very good condition. Very, very good condition. Very decorative. And what a great piece. I mean, you were talking 1700s, 1800s right here for this Georgian harness buckle right there. And we're going to go underneath the microscope for this one because it has some wrong piece there. There we go. Has some interesting stuff on here. So this is listed as a Victorian mount. Victorian, we're talking mid 1800s, so not super old, but look at the decorative on this. It is kind of folded over, tacoed, if you will. Don't know what this went to. Could have been on the back of a hairpiece, like a hair clip, is what I'm thinking. It doesn't have any clasps or anything here on the sides that would lead me to believe like a buckle. But I just love the fancy on that. Look at the flowers, the decorative piece kind of around the corner here. The pieces that come off of the middle. Yeah, you've got some damage over here, and like I said, it's kind of tacoed up. So I really don't want to open this. I would love to open it, but I don't know. Very, very cool looking piece. More flowers here, 4 flowers around the middle piece. I wish I knew what the Victorian mount exactly meant or what this was, but what a beautiful piece right there. Copper. All right. So we're on to page 2 of 3, guys. I'm going to be here a while. Need to kind of pick up the pace. But these next ones, I tell you, we'll zip through because they're not super, super old, but they are old to me. Get this into focus. So we've got a large copper, 18, I believe, it was 1863 on this one. A larger piece, copper coin. Another one we're talking about here, 1929, 1 pence copper coin, not super old. This here actually was pretty darn funny. So I got this. I mean, we're talking copper, right? I was excited. Didn't really clean much of it off. Can see the queen on the front, and then on the back it says 1 penny. So I was like, oh, that's pretty darn cool. Research I did on this particular one. Guess what, guys? 1987. Yeah, great year. 1987, 1 penny there. This one is a little bit older. 1903, I believe. Cool piece there. Gosh, I mean, I can throw coppers under here all day. Check these out. Coppers, right? I do know that one of these, I believe, is a KG2. So, yeah. Lots of copper coins I need to kind of go through and clean up and try and identify a little bit better. This one was tacoed up here. Should be able to get some identifying marks. Like I said, coppers. Lots of coppers. This one here is 1861. Let's put that one underneath. That one's a little bit older. 1861 on that. So lots of coppers that I really need to go through and identify a little bit better. But gosh, copper coins are fantastic to find. Tim says, did I show my King's Head thingy? Yes. Let's look at that. That is right here, Tim. That I showed that at the beginning. It was actually the second. If you want to go back and watch this on replay, it's the second one. Edward the Fourth, 1834, I think is. Tim says something was a love token. I'm gonna have to go through them. If I've got a love token here, I'm gonna flip my lid. Maybe possibly that. Like I said, into the coppers. Tim, go back and watch the beginning for the the king head thingy, which was an interesting piece for sure. Cool big piece here. Holy cow! Let's look at this one a little bit closer. It's gonna be too close, but holy mackerel! You want to talk about? Actually, let's look at it here first. Look at the size of this spoon bowl. This thing is monstrous. Size of my hand here. Kind of mangled. But I want to show some identifying marks here. If we look at the back, this is going to be older. I think this is listed as Georgian. So we're talking 1700s. There are going to be some identifying marks here. This is a silver spoon. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that. Might. Oh, wow. Look at that. Again, guys, this is the first time I'm looking at this stuff, to be honest with you, since I got it back from England. That, to me, right here, correct me if I'm wrong, but see, tell me if you guys can see that. I see a sitting lion. Head on the left, butt on the right, tail on the right. A sitting lion. I don't know, though. So there are some marks on this. But you want to talk about silver spoon? Holy crap. This thing is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Next piece. We're going to keep moving here. This next piece. Yep, this one here. Very interesting. I'm going to hold it up here. See if you guys can identify this before I tell you what it is. It is made out of pewter. And this is actually a 17th century is what they're telling me. 17th century pewter spoon handle. So check that out. That's a cool piece. If I go this way and then over here, a very cool piece. 17th century pewter spoon handle, right there. Interesting. This one here, you guys can probably already identify it. Let's see if we can get over to here and see it. Tell me what you guys think that is right there. This would be the post of it. Does look like it has a D on there, huh? Just looking at, oh my gosh. It absolutely has a D on the back. I don't know what's next to it. This is a Victorian safe keyhole cover. So Victorian, not being super old, mid 1800s. I think that's a D. Don't know what letter that is next to it, but that is definitely a D. So not super old, but pretty darn cool to me. We have a 20th century, not old at all, harness buckle. This one is pretty interesting here. This is listed as a Victorian, says Victorian, or I'm sorry, Georgian hook. So there's some damage here. This probably went on the wall. Has some decorative to it. And came out maybe to a hook on the end. This piece is interesting, and I wish I would be able to get 100% identification on it. It was listed as a Victorian mount. Again, not sure exactly what it was. It's a piece, but it kind of looks like a sun. You've got the rays coming off of it with the circle in the middle, and a post right here. If I can show you that. A post that came off of it. Tim's throwing all kinds of stuff out there. It's fantastic. Tim, I think you're right on it. Absolutely. But this was interesting just because it kind of had the sun rays coming off of it. And I wish I could have found all of it to be able to identify it 100% as to what that son of a gun is right there. So we're moving on. Page 3. Oops. Page 3. Now we're going to get into some buttons. I have what is listed as 23 buttons, but I'm only going to show you some interesting ones, things that I found interesting. This one, we're going to move up top to the microscope up top because I want to get some details. So this one is a button off the back with the gold on it, which really sparked my interest, obviously. Has a crest on it and has what I think is a lion crest. Now, our sponsor didn't identify this as something specific, but I thought it was really interesting overall because of the crest and the lion. Age, I don't know. I don't think it's super old. I would say 1800s. But with the gold on it, the lion, the crest, this is a pretty interesting button right there. Let's see. Got another button here with some gold in it. This is the back. You can see the post broke off. Front of it doesn't have too much to it. But definitely some gold gilt was on this particular button for sure with the broken tip. And then we start getting into some ones with writing, which I'll definitely be able to age. Again, I'm thinking 1800s. mid 1800s from this design is what I'm seeing, but definitely some words on it. Shank is still on it there, kind of crashed down, but some gold is still on the back. The front is just a plain front, which is interesting. How about this one? Check out the design of this one. Kind of a larger button. Has some gold was on this particular one. Each one of these little divots out of it has gold still in it. A circle with maybe a rope design going around it. On the back, broken shank, but a larger kind of dandy size button on that. This one is interesting. I think this is a Victorian, so we're talking 1800s. Kind of has maybe like a diamond shape on it, and it is a raised diamond. Did have gold on it, and a full shank on the back. Very neat button. Kind of, I would say maybe I don't know, a sporting jacket of some sort. It's an interesting button right there. Let's see. Kind of a cool piece. Got a ball button. So we're talking 1800s, early 1800s on the ball button, but very unique time period for that, and a cool button right there. Hey, there's Ventures in Dirt, piping in with that last button as a winter button. I did find this. You guys can probably tell from the top and the side here, this was a thimble. And this is the first thimble, and it's a piece of a thimble that I've ever found, but very cool piece right there. Was a thimble. And I'm happy to have Ken here as well, because Ken was with me when I found almost all of these items, which is really cool. Two buttons that I want to throw. I can put them here. Speaking of with Ken being here, this here is a unique military button. I've got two military buttons we're going to look at right now. This one right here, I'm going to have to describe it to you because it's not a perfect specimen, but I will show you right here. So this is called a 3 cannonball over 3 cannons button, and this is for the Royal Artillery. Now, I'm trying to hold it. Here we go. So we have a cannonball here, cannonball here, cannonball here, over 3 cannons. Right here. Royal Artillery. This is a pretty darn specific time period. 1790 to 1802. England. So 3 cannonballs over 3 cannons. A very well-known button. We have a broken shank on the back of it, unfortunately, but a very well-known identifiable button. 3 cannonballs over 3 cannons. Something that I was very, very happy to have been able to identify. I do believe Ken found 1 or 2 of these as well in the same area. So believe it was probably off a uniform right in that spot. And wow. Awesome piece right there. I love that. Now this one, you guys can see, and it also held some gold. If I can, there we go. You can see the gold on that. You can identify right off of here 3 anchors. This is from the Royal Navy. 1805 to 1807 is this particular button, based on the location of the anchors and the style of the anchors. 1805 to 1807. Royal Navy button. No shank on the back, but again, beautiful button. Beautiful period, and it had some gold on it. I wish it was in better condition. but a 1800s Royal Navy button right there. I want to throw 3 items up here pretty close on this one. I found an absolute ton of buttons. I want to say over 200 buttons I came home with, and some pretty cool identifiable buttons. These 3 items right here. 2 are buttons. 1 I don't exactly know what it is, 100%. I'm gonna see. We're gonna keep it down here. Once I received these buttons or this package back, I was kind of going through it and looking at the buttons. A lot of them are just your basic flat buttons, circle on the back, a little bit of writing. You're talking, mid to late 1800s. Nothing earth shattering. These next 3 pieces were not identified by our sponsor out in England, which kind of bums me out because I do think that they are of some significance, and I'm going to do some cleaning on these 3 next items to really identify exactly what these are. So let's look at this one. Once I was able to kind of clean this off, and I'm hoping that you can see it right away, I see an anchor on this. I've got the at the top will be the round part of the anchor, across and down, and I see an anchor. Now, what really drew my attention, I mean, I'm hoping military, obviously. What drew my attention is around the circle part of it. I don't know if that's writing. I don't know if it's just decoration, but I see an anchor. So in terms of significance to me, I'm going to scream military. I'm hoping it's military. On the back, you have a smashed shank, smashed down shank. But what is encouraging to me is this is a one piece. So in my experience, and I don't have a lot of experience in terms of IDing and dating these types of things, but in my experience, I do believe one piece buttons are going to be older. So when I flip this, maybe we'll get up closer on top here as well and see if we can really get in to this button. And I'm going to put some light on it as well. Gosh, doesn't seem to be as good up here. Oh, there. I see the anchor now, top to bottom. There, look at that. So I think I have a pretty good opportunity to ID this particular button. Having the anchor being a one piece, I think it's older. I want to say early 1800s. We'll see with that particular one. Now let's throw up this one here. We're going to put it down here. I think I had better luck with some distance on this particular button right here. Now again, I started barely cleaning a little bit, and I found some fancy on this particular one. This has a maybe a bent over shank, I think. I think this is a 2-piece, but in looking at this, I'm seeing some, maybe right there, maybe an R, creative R, with maybe even writing around it in a circle. Now I haven't done barely any cleaning off on this particular one. I'm hoping that I can get some sort of details off of it to be able to identify it. Don't think it's necessarily as old as that one piece. I'm thinking mid 1800s, but definitely some fancy in the middle, some script maybe, and around in a circle. I'm hoping that there's some writing, and then even further around the edge. I just don't have it 100%. But when I got this back and started looking at it a little bit closer, I definitely thought some ID on it. So fingers crossed on that one. If I do have anything that comes up on that, I'll let you guys know. Now, this next piece is a broken piece. Don't know if this is a button or what this came off of, but again, I've got some writing on this, and we're gonna have to get in close. Oh, is that a 79 or a 64? What do you guys think that is? But I see a number in the middle with writing around it. It's kind of broken around it. I don't know what this piece is at all. Let's put it up closer and zoom in, or not zoom in, but yeah, we're definitely going to be able to identify. Holy cow. Ken says 79. Putting it up here now, I see a 79. Oh, absolutely. Look at 79 with writing. I've done no cleaning on this other than what wiping it off in the field was. 100% a number in the middle. Okay. Ken says the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders or 79th Regiment of Foot. That may be it, Ken. So possibly, I mean, on the back here, it's pretty. I'm going to do some cleaning with this. 79th Regiment of Foot. I don't know if that's a button or what that came off of, guys, but if that's a 79th Regiment of Foot, that would be cool. So that, again, that came back from England without an ID on it, and just a small piece. Show the front one more time. Yeah, Ken is he's a hawk when it comes to doing research. So right there is probably the best view that we're gonna have. I'll not finger on it, so but it's a broken piece of something. There's definitely writing around it, and I think as I get closer, get it cleaned up, picked, maybe toothpicked a little bit, I can get that writing off of there. I think we're onto something, Ken. 79th Regiment of Foot would be pretty remarkable. I'm going to jump over to the last page and come off of here. Oops, sorry if that messed with you guys there. We have a piece here that is identified by the people over in England as another Georgian hook. So that's going to stick in the wall, stick out in some way. Pretty cool little piece there. As we move, we're going to go with another post-medieval lead cloth seal, and has some interesting looking pieces right there. Ken says he definitely found that 79th. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Has some decorative stars on the top there. Some stars on the back of it. Another post-medieval lead cloth seal. So we're talking, let's see, post-medieval. So we're talking 1500s probably on that particular lead seal. This was a interesting find right here, of course. 19th century, so not super old, but we're going to have a hook on there. You can see hole at the top, hole at the bottom, that's stuck into the wall, and you've got a hook to hang stuff on. Another post-medieval lead seal. I just find these so interesting, and in fact, this one's probably pretty close to the last one as well. And I'm gonna pull this off. Okay, absolutely. Ken found that 79th Cameron Highlanders Regiment of Foot. Very, very cool. Ken, you're a superstar, man. That's another lead bale seal. We're talking a 19th century, probably like a little horse tack buckle, some sort. Here we have a, well, I found a whole bunch of nails as well that I'm not going to show. This is a Georgian drawer pull. Pretty cool piece, not super old on that. Let's see. That's a quick trip. I mean, a quick meaning an hour and 20 minutes. A quick trip through pieces that I did find. And if you guys missed it at the beginning, I did more of the coins at the beginning. So this was that Lizzie the First hammered silver 1561. First hammered, which is absolutely incredible to me. Yeah, first hammered, absolutely incredible. Trying to get my hammered copper out of the case. I shouldn't have put it back in the case. We'll show it. No, we won't be able to show it that way. I'll work on getting this out as we're talking more about it. Hammered silver, just absolutely incredible to be able to find hammered silver on my first trip out there to England. Ken, I sent a picture of this over to Ken, but this is the hammered copper. We're talking 1400s on that. Just absolutely incredible. And like I said, Ken Adventures in Dirt was with me when I found a lot of these things. So to be able to share that experience and find old historical items like that is just to share that with people, which is why I'm sharing it with you guys, because so you appreciate it as well. For those that are a little bit late to the live stream, anything in particular you want me to throw up on the screen here again? Tim said he thinks this here is a love token. I could not identify anything off of that. It very well could be a love token, which would be incredible. Definitely wiped in some way. Yeah, gosh. Coppers like crazy. I'll keep this up here. Coppers like crazy. Found quite a few. Quite a few coppers. That I will clean up for sure and put in the collection. So 70 hours in an hour and a half. And honestly, Tim, the hour and a half didn't do it justice. I mean, you know, the history, the finds, the love and passion for the hobby don't come through in an hour and a half. You can't. I couldn't have spent a day and a half to be able to really bring forth the stuff that I've been able to have. My plan is to do a little cleaning on some of the stuff, and I have some display boxes I want to put everything into. Take it over to the club meeting and show everybody so they can really enjoy it as much as, enjoy it to a certain extent as much as I could. Dad Squatch, thank you for coming on. I didn't recognize when you came in, but thanks for sticking around and watching everything for that. Incredible trip. Kind of ruins you when you get back. Finding 1400s coins, 1500s coins, coming back and finding Wheaties is a little bit difficult, but you need to take into account kind of each aspect of things. Put everything into perspective. My plan is to get back over to England. I would love to be able to go once a year. But if you guys are interested, if you're watching this, if you're interested in going, check out the link in the description for georgiabuddy.com, and that'll take you over to who I went through. Incredible trip, an incredible experience, and something that I will never forget, being able to share with the guys that I did go with, and bring home and display these kind of things. So, that's what I found. If you guys have any questions, please message me directly. I can send you more pictures directly if you guys are interested in seeing kind of the things. Hope it came across clear on the video here. But yeah, send me a message either through social media. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, through email, and I can send you pictures that way of a little bit closer of some of the items if you're interested in those. Other than that, hey, it's been a great Sunday, a great video to be able to share these things with you guys, and leave me comments down below, of course, asking questions. I'm open and honest with you guys, and I love the interaction, being able to share with these things with you. So I'm going to sign off for now. Go enjoy the family on a Sunday, and the S-shaped bend is a love token. Tim, I'm going to look at those because that really, really interests me, and I trust your eye when it comes to those items. So, I see what you're saying. I'm going to look closer, guys. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching, and